Today marks 1483rd day share lessons to learn and continue to learn with you. I hope these insights will inspire you, support your dream, to achieve goals, and empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today I speak about trade-offs. Sometimes people say sacrifices, but today I'll focus about trade-offs. And what I mean by that is that sometimes there is two things that is not be able to have both at the same time. You're not able to see lie and you're not able to say lie and true at the same time. You're not able to. It's one on another, one on another. There's a lot of things that is like just gray area, but I think that we need to understand there's some things that is one way or another. You're not able to be in the middle. You are one way or another. Today we'll share 10 small things, 10 small bits that every single person needs to make those choices, those trades, life trades that every single person needs to make. And I think that what about life trades, we need to understand is like choice and decision. I love making decisions because one decision could save you for 1,000 choices. For example, if you say that I never eat sugar, that means if you in a sugar aisle, you will not buy products from sugar because you just don't do that because you made a decision not to eat it. If you didn't make that decision, that means that potentially every single time when you're in an aisle of sugar oil, you will need to make that choice, buy or not buy. For example, the decision could be never watch TV shows. So that means that you don't need to make a choice if you watch TV show or not because you made a decision for it. So I think that's with trades, life trades is very similar. Sometimes you need to really make a decision to trade and then be able to really execute accordingly rather than really making that daily choice every single day because those life trades are extremely important. And people who really live a life consistently with the trades that really helps them because a lot of times we make trades that are convenient but it's not helpful. So today we'll share 10 things that could be extremely important to understand that you are getting one or another. And it's better to choose one that really actually serves us. Number one is comfort versus growth. This is life trade. This is life trade. That means that you're able to have a comfort in your life or you can have growth in life and you're not able to have both. And I say that comfort is always bad. Sometimes comfort just allows us to really reflect on things, and really, from that reflection, leads to really massive growth. But in tendency, the majority of times, 80%, 90% of the time, we need to really seek growth. And I think that when we are growing, when we're improving, that's where we're supposed to have the comfort. Because if you seek comfort without growth, I think that we will really lack skills, lack confidence, lack resilience. So again, the partly sometimes if you said I'm lacking skills, lacking confidence, lacking resilience, maybe that's again question is that how many times, how many days in a row, how many times per week do you actually choose comfort over growth? Because when you choose growth more than comfort, you'll start to see that your skill sets, confidence, courage will start to improve. And that's probably one of the best ways to really start growing is just really choosing that growth rather than the comfort. I know that is not easy, and a lot of times we say that we choose growth, but when we look into our actions, those actions doesn't represent, but we truly choosing growth. Number two is the trade from approval and authenticity. I think it is easy to really wanting to be liked, wanting to be validated, want to be agreed on with, accepted. But I think that the most important part is that if we're seeking all the time, we lose authenticity. Every single time when we seek approval, every single time when we say something that we didn't want, we lose a little bit of our authenticity. I know that because I know that from early age I used to be a person who puts masks, puts because I want to be I wanted to be belong, I wanted to be accepted, and I think that that was wrong because as I developed the character that was not me for a long time, and I needed to really rediscover myself, and then develop that new version of me that is actually me. And I think that when you really see authenticity, that's where really meaning could come from as well. Because without really real self, without aligning with your values, or aligning yourself with what you truly want, is because sometimes doing the things for others is great, but that's not supposed to be coming from removing parts of you. And that's again, this is a big part. So authenticity is supposed to be coming with adding to you rather than draining for you. So number two was approval versus authenticity. Because if you seek approval, you might lose authenticity. But if you always seek authenticity, you might even get approval that you're always looking for at the same time. It might be that you will not get approval, but if you don't get approval while you're showing your true authenticity, that means that those people are not for you anyway. That's at the end of the day is a good thing. Number three, the trade-off for from the short-term pleasure and long-term meaning, and that's again one probably the ones on the most common ones, because we eat every single day, we potentially exercise every single day, we choose those daily things that on a daily basis. So one of the easiest examples is, do you want to eat cake or you don't want to eat cake? Short-term pleasure, short-term, we'll say that eat cake, enjoy this moment, it'll be fun and pleasurable. Of course it will be pleasurable, of course it will be delicious. But then you look into long-term meaning and you understand, okay, if I want to be the best dad, if I want to be the best person, if I want to become the best version of me, that best version of me requires me to really have standards, high standards for my health, for my energy, for the things that I want to achieve. That means that my high standards, maybe that cake is below my standards. So that means I choose long-term meaning because I want to really pursue the be a leading by example, showing other people that how to live a life in the multiple areas of our lives. And I think that again, this is a choice, short-term pleasure or long-term meaning. It'll be in a lot of other things. Maybe scrolling Instagram or taking a book and reading. Even though we have only 5 minutes, what you could do with those 5 minutes, you can scroll Instagram, or maybe you can read 5 minutes. If you add those 5 minutes day after day, you will find that you will finish a book and know tomorrow. And after a year, you have extra knowledge under your belt. And that's again long-term meaning rather short-term pleasure. Number four, the trade from being busy and being effective. I think that we live in a society that really sometimes even focuses on being busy rather than being effective. I think that's like a beautiful thing because sometimes when you are too busy, you forget how important it is to be effective. And as I probably have heard saying that I'm too busy, I'm not have time to really get advice. And I think that's again probably one of the worst things ever. And again, being effective could require you to be busy at the end of the day. Because if you are effective and busy at the same time, that means that you can achieve massive success. But if you're busy but not effective, might be that you will be so busy for so many years that you never achieve that. So that means that the focus always supposed to be effective. Because sometimes when we look into people who really achieve significant success, they are so much more effective and within a couple hours are able to achieve so much more than the busy people altogether. Number five is the trade from blaming and taking responsibility. This is a beautiful thing. Blaming, I think, is again, this is a lot of times you just want to choose a shortcut. We don't have energy, and that's why it's so important to take care of ourselves, that we have energy to really take a minute, because blaming is a shortcut. You blame someone, and that's not my fault, no, it's someone else's fault. And blame. Somebody say blame myself, but again, when you blame somebody, even yourself, that means that you do not fix anything. But we take on responsibility, like what my part was actually responsible for this, and what could they do? Because when you take responsibility, that means that you are taking into consideration that you can do something about it. What could they do right now to take responsibility of this? Just like I was responsible for some part of it, maybe I'm not part of it, but I'm responsible to really fix that. What is in me? What is in my power? And I think that's a beautiful thing, because if you blame, things could always stay the same. But when you take responsibility, things could improve, and it might improve, and it will improve. Number six is the trade from emotional reactivity and emotional mastery. Now, it's okay to be emotional reactive for a season, but it's not okay to stay there. I know that I used to be very emotional reactive, and I think that when I was reflecting, at what point my emotional reactivity changed, and where I started to engage into emotional mastery, and that's was probably one of my judo coach was the best coach ever, because he knew how important is emotional mastery. And before training starts, he always used to bring us into awareness that we need to really have that mindfulness, because at the beginning, when you're young adult, you want to play, you want to run it, do things, and he used to bring that emotional awareness into the game, that we can really do the best for the training. And that where I moved from very emotional reactive kid to really much more emotional and mature person. I think every single person needs to engage in any environment that really requires them to bring them into awareness of the present moment. It could be wrestling, it could be maybe even painting. I don't know what it is, but that dancing. There's something that really requires person to put themselves in a higher awareness, and I think that's kind of essential. And that's where sort of emotional reactivity or emotional mastery. If you see that you are emotional reactive, that I used to be, then I think that you need to realize that you are able to do something about it. You're able to join places, activities that requires you to be more aware. And that is, if you feel that you are emotional activity, rather than saying this is who I am, saying what could they do to become the person that they need to be and have that emotional mastery. That's the kind of trades that we need to make. Number 7 is the trade from certainty and possibility. I think that's I need some basic clarity, because if we want to be certain, we just crave for control, we crave for certainty, we crave for ability to say that this is what it is, and there's no option. But I think that when we grow, we're able to start saying that what kind of different things, what kind of possibilities, what kind of opportunities, what there is even a 1% chance that could be different. 1% chance, and that 1% chance could be one crack that is required to really change the beliefs that is not serving you. Maybe we need to change the beliefs and narratives and stories that are actually serving you to become the best version of you. Because I think that every single person has limiting beliefs. Some people just are able to change them and become better, and some people are just too rigid, too certain about them. I think that certainty or possibility, that's where it's very important to really trade to possibility rather than certainty. Number 8 is the trade from ego and connection. And again, this is focusing. Everyone has ego, and ego is a great thing because it protects us at the end of the day. But I think that's the focus. Where the focus is, the trade is connection. If I see connection, that means that my ego needs to be humbled, needs to really see things as serving me. Because when you have high ego, a lot of times your connections, your self view gets destroyed. So rather than saying that I want to really focus on my ego, focus on my connections, focus on being, focus on relations, collaboration, love. Because when you focus on ego, of course, what you provide proof, provide being right, winning any interaction. And again, this is a, do I want to win for my ego, or do I want to win for the connection? And again, every single time we may need to make those trades, because at the beginning, when you start to bring that awareness, you will need to make choice every single day until you actually able to bring that in every single conversation. Number 9, the trade from time spent and time invested. And this is a beautiful thing, because I think that when we speak, we say that what are we when asking questions? What did you spend time on this weekend? And then so the question is, what did you invest that time on? Most I probably never heard anyone saying that, but I think that's the beautiful question that I think that we need to start asking ourselves. How did you invest your time this weekend or this week? How did you invest your time? And what things did you invest? Because when we say that time spent, a lot of times we actually mean it, that we spend our time like expenses. But when you invest your time, you understand that that is actually like asset. Because if you invest your time and develop your skill set, develop your mind, develop your connections, develop your meaning, that means that time will bring returns rather than time spending and scrolling, just not doing nothing. Somebody is not doing nothing at the same time doing the most important thing is reflecting and thinking would be the most important thing. But again, this is investing your time. And again, this is a trade that we need to make almost every single day. Number 10, the trade from who you were and who you're becoming. And this is again very extremely important trade that we need to make. Sometimes when we look into the future, we actually not seeing the future. We are just repeating the past. It's like this is who I was in the past, and how I could really bring that person from the past to the future. And that's what we have a tendency to do. But I think that sometimes we need to really say that who I were is not as important who I'm becoming. Sometimes forgetting altogether who you were is extremely important. I think that what my one of the favorite exercises I think that every single person is supposed to try and do is that you look into the future and say like who I want to become, not thinking about the current moment, not thinking about the future, not thinking about the past, thinking about the future and say like who I want to become. And that moment when you know exactly who you want to become, you're asking, okay, what kind of things from the past could help my future? And that's the only question. What kind of things from the past could help my future? That's the beautiful thing when you start to think, okay, just think what I did in the past could actually help. If I reconsider or reconstruct my narrative, I could find how that past could actually not be the negative thing, but the positive thing for my future. And of course, who we are extremely important as well, because if you don't know who you are right now, it will be very hard to create a plan, understand the gap between who you are right now to become who you want to be. But at the same time, we will not need to make those trade-offs to understand that we need to focus on who we're becoming, not who we were. So I hope you just reflect as well, because there's extremely important ones traits, but I think there's so much more very important traits that you need to make. So when you say yes to something, you need to sometimes ask what do I say no to, or when you say no to something, you can ask yourself what do I say yes to as well. And I think that's the beautiful thing when we're able to start to reflect and be aware of our choices on a daily basis. So I hope you choose to win, and see you tomorrow.